Thousands of people are expected on the National Mall tomorrow, and more events are sprouting up in response to the Restoring Honor rally that will take place at the Lincoln Memorial. Some have objected to an event being held at the same location as Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech on the very anniversary of that historic speech. Others say it's the perfect location for Americans to gather and talk about America's future. Joining us now to talk about this, Michael Fauntroy, Associate Professor of Civil Rights Studies at George Mason University, and Ron Miller, the President of Regular Folks United. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us, both of us. Both of you for being with us this morning. Ron, let me start with you. You're going to go down to the rally tomorrow.
Yes.
What expectations do you have?
My expectations are you're going to have sort of a picnic type atmosphere, and then we're going to hear speakers and music. It's going to be a family event. That's what my anticipation is.
Michael, what do you envision for what's going to happen tomorrow?
Well, the rally is called Restoring Honor. I think it's more like a marketing event centered around Glenn Beck, who has a book that's being released around this time. I also think it's an opportunity for people to position themselves on the national stage. You know, with former vice presidential nominee Sarah Palin being there, and this being such a widely anticipated event, it's quite likely that she and the others there will use this as an opportunity to facilitate their own agendas in addition to the one that is calling everyone there, to the extent that we can identify.
Let's talk, Ron, about the timing of this event being held on the anniversary of Dr. King's speech. And there are people obviously who are trying to put a racial spin on this. You don't believe that. Why?
Well, I guess it's a matter of knowing the hearts of the people that I know are going to this rally. We're talking about honoring America's veterans. I'm a veteran myself, so that is something that resonates with me. And we're also talking about recognizing the values that have been promoted by the movement of individual liberty, free markets, limited constitutional government. And these aren't values that have a racial connotation, at least not to my view.
You agree with that, Michael?
Well, knowing the hearts and minds of the people who are attending is one thing, and I don't dispute any of that. But the people who are organizing this event represent a totally different group, in my opinion. For me, the Lincoln Memorial on August 28th is hallowed ground. It's ground that it should be occupied by people who are serious about bringing the country together and are not engaged in sort of vitriolic, hyperbolic speech. What we know from Glenn Beck, the lead organizer of this event, is that that is what he's about. And so for me, him being there on that date, ostensibly to restore honor and to honor the servicemen and women of this country, to me is disconnected from who he really is and what he's really about.
Can this be held, Ron, I'll put this to you, can this be held without worrying about any of these racial overtones? Could it have been a different rally had it simply been held on a different day that it's being held on?
Well, that's an assumption. I'm really not sure if that rally would have had any different connotation. Perhaps. Honestly, until people started talking about the date, I have to confess that's not something that entered into my mind. I was just focused on the purpose of it. And I know that Glenn Beck, he's an entertainer, and he's also a person with very strong views, but the same man that people are accusing of some form of racial issues is also the same one that's had a series on Founders Friday about black founders, which taught me more about black history and our role in the American Revolution and in the expansion of this country than I ever learned in public school. And this is also a man that is very much a fan of Dr. Alveda King. They're good friends, and she's going to be speaking at the rally as well. So if this man had this racial connotation to his actions, I don't know that he would be doing these things.
Do you think those points, though, can still get across, or will they be enveloped by these overtones?
Unfortunately, with the environment we're in right now, I'm afraid that there are always going to be people who are going to take this and try to use it to advance a particular point of view. You know, I am the president of an organization called Regular Folks United, so I tend to think of it in terms of what everyday Americans are doing. And I go to church with these people. These are people that I invite into my home. I go to soccer games with them. These are everyday Americans. They're not involved in all of this turmoil that the political class seems to want to stir up. They just want to come out and honor the country that they love.
Do you see any conflict between the two rallies tomorrow and the two groups of people who are essentially going to be ending up at the same place?
You mean physical confrontation? No, I don't anticipate anything like that. It's not in anyone's interest for that to happen. And so I think that will not be much of an issue. I do believe, though, that it's important for those who do not support the Restoring Honor rally if they can, to also show up for the Dream speech commemoration, which starts tomorrow morning at Dunbar High School.
Let me ask you the same thing that I asked Ron, though. Would it make a difference, in your belief, if this rally was simply held on a different day?
Well, that's an interesting question. I believe that if this event were held last Saturday or next Saturday, it might not get the same attention, which to me says that the date matters. It matters to people who know what Dr. King was about. It matters to people who want to embrace what's great about this country. And so for me, them picking that date is more than just a coincidence.
Ron, Glenn Beck says this is not a political rally. Obviously, there's going to be a strong conservative base that's there. Is this the type of thing that could have an impact when it comes to the elections and the conservative results in November?
I think it just mirrors what's already out there. I think the ability of these rallies to draw the kind of attention that they draw and to draw the number of people that they draw is a reflection of the mood in the country right now. And so while it may certainly be something that gives people encouragement and gives them energy and motivation going into the elections, I think it's just a reflection of the current environment.
Michael, real quick final word.
I really believe that this is an unfortunate exercise in First Amendment rights. While everyone has the right to petition the government and come together and redress of grievances, I really do believe there's much more behind the scenes on this, and we'll see that play out as we get close to the November elections.
All right, we're going to see what plays out tomorrow, too. We're going to have a lot of company down in the mall tomorrow, that's for sure. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Michael Fauntroy, Ron Miller. Glad to have both of you here with us this morning. Sarah, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve. Well, you know, Chicago